very good morning to you. It is 5th of February 2024, and of course, it is a Monday morning, and it is not really cold like it has always been. And of course, I'm joined with Mercy Kasime here in the studio. Good morning, Mercy.
Good morning, Charlotte. It's quite an amazing day. It's first day of the week, and hoping that you've already gotten your worksheets down. And for those that have their children, today is official day, of school opening. So definitely, I believe that you're on the way, because I saw some few schools, some students are going to school, but that is the situation. And of course, today we're going to be tackling that. But of course, before we go to that, we have
a very sad weekend. Yes, Namibia lost their president at the age of 82 years. His Excellency Dr. Hage Geingob died yesterday at midday. It is very sad to hear that Namibia has lost their president. May his soul rest in peace, and our condolences to the people and the citizens of Namibia. Yes, of course, he was diagnosed with cancer. He's been going under treatment. His group of doctors has been trying to fight it. He was found with prostate cancer around June last year. And then before they knew it, he got treatment, he was going under dialysis, and it was not there anymore. And before we knew it, around January, beginning of January, he was diagnosed with cancer again. So he's been fighting for his life in the hospital. But of course, he died with his wife beside him, Mrs. Monica Geingob, and his 3 children were there in hospital. But of course, he's one of the presidents who have been fighting corruption. But of course, the people were saying he's not fighting corruption. You know, it's Africa. And he was fighting Africa to be on the worldwide stage, because he felt Africans needed to be listened to more. May his soul rest in peace. And of course, we shall start with the day, because today is back to school.
Yeah, today is back to school, the 5th of Feb. That is the official opening, though some schools could have started school last week, but today is the official opening of the day. And of course, we took time, to scout around and see the situation, economic surrounding during the opening of schools. Do people get how is the economics into the country? How are the items? Are they selling? Do people have money in this type of January? Because definitely we believe it's not always financially stable month.
Yeah. January, usually people complain, but this is a January people were like, oh, this is a smooth January. But of course, compared to the years and the times when kids go back to school, compared to how the traffic is on the streets, compared to the pressure the parents have when kids are going back to school, it's not the pressure we're seeing out there. And most of the parents are complaining. They're saying the economy is really, really killing them. The economy is not being favorable to any of the parents. Of course, we also see the schools are demanding one arm and a leg. The requirements, you look at them and wow.
Yeah, and of course, not ruling out the fact that some of them have increased tuition or maybe school fees, I may say.
Yes.
But of course, I don't feel like there is always there's not always a need to increase every time. What they increase? Maintenance fee, there's always that extra fee they add that is not necessary.
They always find a way. If parents are complaining about the tuition, they tend to leave the tuition in the same situation, but then they find a fee each time, because there is boarding fee. We didn't have that when we were going to school. There is maintenance, there is structure fee, then there is school fees, then there is medical, then there is insurance, and before you know it, you're saying, wow. If you can actually round this all up into tuition, you would find that parents are actually paying like the international schools, because you find that international schools are paying around 6 to 8 million. And before you know it, these private schools are also making parents pay the same. Because if you're paying a maintenance fee of around 460,000, you're paying school fees of 1.6, you're paying insurance of 250, you're paying structure fee of around 120. Before you know it, you're around 3.5 or 2.5. Because at the end of the day, you have to pay for the shuttle. You also have to pay, you have to buy parking for the child if the child is not in boarding. So you find that parents are actually under so much pressure. and knowing that money is not really coming in the way it used to, and everyone is complaining, economically the country is not really doing well.
So we have to conclude that the education system is expensive. Taking a child to school is starting way from kindergarten till maybe probably. I feel universities are a bit fair when it comes to tuition, because I mean that's almost the standard.
Well, universities also the students there are complaining because one of them has a flyer going around social media. I have seen like around 5. She missed last semester, and this is supposed to be her last year. So she says last year she missed because of lack of tuition. So she's telling people, please, whatever you send, I need to finish. This is my balance. I need to pay that balance if I don't. So if the students at the university are crying, now the parents that have those ones who are going to baby class right now, how do they look? Because they have to buy the uniform.
For baby class, I don't think, or kindergarten or primary, there's a choice. Either you do that or they stay home.
So I feel like kindergarten should actually be removed.
Oh yeah, they should.
We can have one class.
They could do what is it called? Homeschool. Homeschool is actually
is quite expensive. You have to pay per week.
No, but there are parents that have taken initiative to teach their children.
Yes,
I could teach my children.
You can teach your children, but remember you leave home at 5 Mercy to go to work. Then you go back home at around 10. When are you going to teach the children?
Well, parenting is also becoming another issue at hand. But to look at the situation in the people that have been, selling scholastic materials and all that, people were not so much, there was a lot of bargaining and all that. So, and of course I hear prices were reduced to an affordable price, but people were not coming in as expected. There is also having the prices reduced, but then the people are not even buying. So the situation is all upside down.
But Mercy, if you can remember quite well, when we were in kindergarten and primary back in the day, we used to pay around 15,000 to 20,000.
That's why
they were not UPE, even private schools were there. But me, I did my kindergarten in Kabale, Antinora Nursery School. It is no longer there. We are the people who went to those schools that you can't find anymore there. So we used to pay 20,000. And that 20,000, the way you hear parents crying, 300,000 is a lot today. Back in the day, the 20,000 was quite a lot. And right now, you can't find a school that is good enough to take your child to that is below 200,000.
Yeah.
That means you're taking the child to what? To fail, maybe. That's what someone would say. So people feel like maybe paying money for school, a lot of money, that is investing in a child. Taking the child to a very, very, very good school with 3 varies, not even just 2. That is investing in the education. But at the end of the day, I feel if a parent can actually let it be, because that pressure alone of paying 4 million every 3 months, when you're actually earning 800 to 700,000, that is putting yourself under pressure for nothing.
And you can imagine you have like many other, like 5 or 4. It's hard. But then on your point, I feel like the more money, the more kids are catered for.
Yes.
That's what I feel. That is why they increase in payment, because they cater for the kids. If you go back to UPE schools,
they are not catered for?
No. It's terrible.
It is terrible.
It is terrible. Kids are reckless. They're shabby, and you're like, what is this, a school? What's happening?
Huh? Well, I guess it's because it's government. And the teachers, remember, they're always striking. They're always asking for salary increment. So if she's not, or he's not being paid properly, I don't think you, a parent who's going to bring your child to school, this child is going to actually get the attention they need. I think this is why most parents tend to get something for the teachers on a low key. You're like, you know what, that is my child. Would you please look into him or her and make sure the child is okay? But this is not only in the UPE schools. Even the private schools where parents spend a lot of money, you find that teachers have a mentality of, oh, those are brats. Those are rich people's kids. So at the end of the day, they feel like these kids, even if you tell them, the parents don't want the child to be told anything. So you find that the teachers feel like it is okay. I don't have to say anything to this child.
Well, let's talk about the situation of day schools and how they were planning to remove the schools that are into the city center to take them out, because there have been instances, not so many, but of course when it comes to crossing of children, some of them are knocked down.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, so I think there was a situation. I was heading to work, and it was only one generous lady. They were kids, young, this age, this age. So she had to stop the cars they were stranded. So you can imagine the kind of situation that they have. Because, like you said, some of them cannot afford school bus fees or van,
shuttles,
so they decide to walk home, and it's cold. It's very cold, and for some kids, they're anemic.
Yes.
Some are asthmatic.
Yes.
Some have allergies.
Yes.
So it's quite a lot.
Well, when you talk about those sicknesses, most parents will tell you, that is what they would say. My child will be okay. That is what they would say. But at the end of the day, you find that we have reckless drivers here in Uganda, very, very reckless. But I remember some time back, the government had put a law, when you see kids, stop the car. Even if you're in a hurry, let them cross. But most times you find that some people are really kind. They stop the cars, they help the kids cross. Or you see a car stopping, the person actually comes out and tells the borders and the other cars to stop because the kids are going to cross. But on that note of crossing and kids walking to school early in the morning, I feel parents should actually think about the reflectors. The kids, even you as a parent, you need to wear a reflector. Because when you sit on this border, you're covering the border guy. So the person behind will not see the reflector. So you, the passenger, should wear the reflector. The child who is walking to school in these school sweaters and the uniforms, it is usually dark in the morning. Some of them walk back home at around 7, 8 because they have to walk. They don't use public means or get shuttles or whatever. So if parents can actually get them reflectors so that they are safe, so that when anybody sees anybody walking with a reflector, of course they'll see it's a child and help them in one way or another. Maybe it will be safer for them at the end of the day.
Yeah, and of course talking about safety, last week we were talking about safety.
Yes.
The safety of schools, how prepared they are, in terms of the increasing fires,
Yes.
the safety, not only fires, also the safety of food that they eat. I feel like they should take precaution, because I understand when it comes to feeding, most schools go for the low priced food.
Yes.
Yeah. So definitely at the end of the day, you find, the complaints, we used to complain actually way back in high school, oh, the portion is not good, I need to add a petit, the beans are not okay. So that kind of situation also needs to be in place. I remember the government was suggesting that they should be given milk. But how many schools can afford milk every day? Not even you as a family, you cannot afford milk every day.
No, you can't. And even if they're saying they're going to give them milk, we both know they're going to take color. It's going to be colored water. It's not going to be milk. Because back in the day in boarding, when they would try to actually change what they usually give us from porridge to tea, they would give you tea with very little sugar. So you'd have to find a way to get more sugar if you're in boarding. And if you're not in boarding, you're in there, you have to take your tea the way it is. The bread is very tiny. So when they would give you milk, it was colored water.
Just tea leaves, brown and, very, very water.
But also the prices, I think, also determine how the school maintains the kids when they are back to school. Because right now, when you look at the prices of the beans, a kilo has gone high. Posho, it has also gone up. So you also see the fuel prices are also disturbing them. When it comes to shuttles, you realize that parents usually pay school fees and you end up spending more on transportation than the school fees and the parking. Because if a child is paying, let's say, 800,000 because of the distance from the school, or 700,000, and you're paying, let's say, 200 or 300,000 at the school, you're already in $1 million. So personally, I feel maybe parents should consider boarding schools. Maybe you go.
They're cheaper?
Yes, it is cheaper. Because these days Uganda has changed. The schools have a difference now. we have weekends.
Yeah.
You can do weekly. Every Friday in the evening, you pick the child.
Visitation.
Yes, and Sunday evening or Monday morning, you take back the child to school. So I feel like you check out the safety in the school. You check out the boarding facilities. You see how they take care of them and everything. Plus, schools don't allow parking anymore.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of poisoning going around. So for the parents who go to schools whereby there's no parking, it is actually better than going to a school whereby a parent has to compete with the other parent. Oh, you know, my mommy, the other child packed sausages, the mother also packed sausages, the other child packed eggs, and competition is also another thing.
Well, of course, right about, I think we're going to be looking at what has been happening over the weekend, reviewing our press. Of course, making headlines in the Daily Monitor. I remember last week we gave you a report on how it's going to cost you 46 million Ugandan shillings for you to have a kidney transplant. And of course, right here making headlines, scramble for free kidney transplants. It's going to be battle. People are going to start killing each other, you know, just to get
care of your children.
Yeah, it is actually. I think this is what I was talking about, kids going home early, going to school early with no parental guidance.
Yes.
They can disappear. Like you can.
At the end of the day, this job you're choosing over your child, is it going to be worth it?
Drop them off at least.
Try your best.
Yeah, and of course, 5 patients of the alleged registered 30 on dialysis will be given the costly treatment for free at Mulago National Referral Hospital as government goes back the drawing board to the cost of the procedure. There's also the procedure, and there's also getting a kidney. Jesus Christ. And of course, time to get back to books as new term begins. Yeah, I can see students here carrying bags and size of bags, the bags of Sophia bags, the ones they used to carry.
Do they have the metallic suitcases?
Oh,
you know,
definitely.
they've upgraded the metallic suitcases
Oh,
now.
definitely.
It is your money. They have the rolling. Is it like the way this?
By then,
the suitcases.
There used to be the cookies that had the rolling suitcases. But of course, remember Sanyu? Is it Sanyu? Yeah, the Sanyu Makere student
Yes.
that had a metallic suitcase.
Yeah.
He graduated and he's working. Really rich. Yeah.
But metallic suitcases were the ish. If you went with the rolling suitcases, of course they were going to steal from you.
Yeah, it was easier.
It was much more that.
And of course, panic grips finance, the Uganda Investment Authority after IGG raid. Well, of course, poverty blamed for raising cancer death. Of course, when you're poor, you have things like prostate cancer. There's no treatment. If you see big people are dying of over cancer, you can't last a week.
There are some sicknesses they keep saying, but these days it doesn't have that anymore.
Yeah.
I guess because it's all
Poor
the nuts
feeding.
food we are eating.
Yeah, the poor feeding.
And of course, we are seeing here, minister issues tough rules on school bullying. Parents, you need to find time and talk to your kids and find out actually how they are in school, who is bullying them, and go to the school, talk to the teacher, because it is a serious issue. The bullying issue is really serious. Kids keep committing suicide. You see them, you see the stories. And of course, 4,000 teachers to be recruited for government-aided secondary schools. UPDF officers graduate from Makere. Wow, that is good news. And then, of course, WhatsApp contracts, legal judge rules. Mark lectures trying to empower student leaders. And of course, we also see here 133,000 learners miss out on Senior 1 selections.
Wow. Did they not perform?
That is a very big
That's
number.
the big number.
But you see, they were showing us the first grades, but the second grades was so many.
Oh.
We also have someone who got the fourth grade, someone very famous.
And they will be admitted, trust me. And of course, in 7 years, 7 days here, the president of the Republic of Uganda says Uganda is too poor to increase salaries. So those who have been striking, salary should be increased.
Just go and work.
Just bear with the rest of us and just enjoy the economy as it flows.
And of course, the first term education minister issues guidelines. Head teachers will be held liable where bullying is reported.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is really good. I like it. Maybe the head teachers will pay more attention to the kids. And Museveni tips on social eco transformation. And of course, we also see so many stories here in the New Vision. You just have to grab yourself a copy. And of course, spy chief caught among 16 top robbery suspects. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
This is our country.
Yes, and of course, panic grips UIA, the Ghana Investment Authority, after IGG raid. And of course, they're probing into, on January, they'll convene back to the senior management and staff meeting to prepare the term of Director General, Mr. Robert Mukiza. So they are looking also into the Ghana Investment Authority. So we are really busy on curbing corruption in Uganda, yeah? But I want cases to be sound. I don't want them to be low. I want them to be sound. They get the culprit, we see, and they charge the person.
And of course, here in the East African, we see Museveni bets on Samia to save oil plan. After the Kenyan talks got stuck, the Ugandan leader has sent technocrats to trash out a new deal. And of course, we saw that Uganda got a deal with Tanzania recently for the new exports and the imports that come in and go out. And of course, we see Kenya take up medication of South Sudan peace talk. South Sudan these days is actually trending a lot in so many places. And of course, the East African is out. You just have to get your copy, and so that you can actually know what is happening in the other countries around us. Ethiopia begins building vaccine production plant. Isn't that good news for Ethiopia?
Yeah. Well, the vaccines are for several, diseases and all that. And of course, gains in higher education masks gender inequality. Yeah. For those that want to know into gender equality, there is much more to get when you get your copy of the Daily Monitor. And of course, navigating the school year, the new school year. And of course, as school bells echo through the air and unmistakable scent of the new textbooks. Yeah. Parents find themselves gearing up for another exciting academic journey for their little one. There's nothing exciting these days, just that parents get tired of children and they want them off. But other than that, economically, it's never really the case.
Okay. And of course, we see a woman here was awarded with 50 million shillings over lost baby.
Oh, that's
All
nice.
right, women going to start losing their babies after this.
Intentionally?
They're going to start losing their babies because
Wow. I need to read that story because it seems interesting and so touching.
it is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, Entebbe land case deferred. And of course, we see there is a case that has been happening in Entebbe. But of course, here, if you want to know the whole story, you just have to get yourself a copy of the New Vision. And UK to support media freedom speech in Uganda.
And of course, costs of smartphones hindering internet uptake. That is according to the ICT Minister. The Information and Communication Technology Minister, Chris Perimonsi, said that the high cost of smartphones remains a key challenge to internet uptake in Uganda. Yeah, we need phones that are affordable.
Yes.
Now you can imagine this new phone that
It's more than 300,000. That is more than $100.
Who has that kind of money?
It is a lot.
It has
For
to
Ugandan
be.
person.
And of course, for Matia Kasaija, he says he will not borrow to mortgage the country. Well, the finance minister says that because he has ignored many financial requests, including directed by the president, some call him a miser. But of course, when you're in the finance minister, you're responsible for the collapse of a country. You have to be accountable whatsoever. You have to know the economic situation that is happening in the country and the balance. So if things go shift, the blame is on you as the finance minister.
Yes.
Just like having a company and you're the accountant.
Oh.
In case anything goes wrong and money goes missing, and maybe
you who has to pay.
It is you that has to be accountable. So you have to be strict. This is why most people find people do not have connections with their accountant.
No, they never do.
Yeah?
They
Because
never
you
do.
go there and it's like, no, because
You're
at
not
the end of
getting
the
salary this time.
No, not necessarily. These petty things, and this is,
And because he knows how the boss talks to him, you're never there when the boss is shouting at
yeah,
him.
and they know how much they have in the account.
Yes. And of course, we also see here, contracts executed via WhatsApp are legal, says the court. Most people usually come and say, we talked on WhatsApp. Well, yes, we talked, but I never made a deal with you. But they're saying if there is an acceptance message that you have as evidence from the other person.
Yeah.
And people who have disappearing messages, if I'm making a deal with you and your messages are disappearing,
those
I
people
can't
are
even take a
unserious.
screenshot of these things.
Those are unserious. Those people are unserious.
People who have disappearing messages, don't send me a message at all. I don't want that.
Well, of course, tax exemptions, not achieving targeted goals, jobs rather. That is more in the Daily Monitor if you want to know much more in the tax evasion. And of course, looking at football, sports, champion pilots stumble in start of title defense. And of course, that is as of rugby, yeah, for the lovers of rugby. And of course, Butez happy. Despite 10 cranes draw with Cameroon. So there were matches between the cranes under 17 and of course with Cameroon. Well, just 27 minutes past 7 a.m. Yeah, that was it for our first 30 minutes of Smart Minutes Business. And of course, we shall be right back with East Africa International Business News. Please do stick around.
Smart 24